special episode because we are recording in person, which I don't think I've done with you yet. Well, once, like a while ago, actually.
You visited.
Yeah, and that was, what, like 2?
Over a year ago.
Yeah, almost 2 years ago.
Crazy.
Wow.
I've been out there for too long, I guess.
I know.
Just kidding.
That's what happens when you move away.
Right.
But we're gonna have a really great topic that we're gonna talk about. National parks and exploring them. And for that topic, we're drinking a tea that I discovered while I was discovering a new national park. Recently, I went to a little-known national park called the Black Canyon of the Gunnison in Colorado. Highly recommend. Nobody ever goes, so if you don't like crowds, go there.
Perfect.
If you like big holes and craggy rocks, go there also. This is Elevation Tea, and we are drinking their Ragged Mountain Blend.
Woo.
It's
I
pretty
love
fun.
that.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I've had several different flavors from them now, and they're just rich. They're very rich flavored tea.
And the fun thing about them too is they take flavors that you wouldn't think that would go well together, and they actually do. It's
Yeah,
really
they're
nice.
very,
It's a good blend.
very, very nice blends. All organic, all locally grown, which is all super fun. I love being able to support local stuff like that. So while we were there and when we found this cute like tea shop, of course I had to get it, right? Of course I had to get it. So while you guys listen, feel free to get yourself some and drink along with us. And Tyler, if you would like to, you can roll the dice first. We can see what question we get.
All right, here we go. Oh, do I need to choose my dice?
Oh, we got a 14. So question 14. This actually is very pertinent to our current trip that we're on right now. Best snacks to take hiking, period.
Oh my goodness, this is a tough one because, sometimes you're just craving different things. But
Yes.
I just have to give a good shout out here to Katie. She is
Oh my gosh.
the best at planning snacks on a trip. So, anyways, I usually drop the ball on that. I get something simple. Katie had everything. She had sweet, sour, crunchy, soft, all the things that you would want or crave. Anyways, I think on a hike or on a national park, the best kind of snack is probably something sweet.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
A little crunch. And I think just having variety. I love beef jerky.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I love, there's a bakery that I love. I love their rolls. So having those within reach
Guys.
is great.
Okay, so we're on a trip right now that we're almost like more than halfway through to Yellowstone National Park. Has been great. And Tyler bought an entire bag of rolls.
They're the best rolls I've ever had.
They're just dinner rolls, okay? But like they are legitimately so good.
Yeah, they're from a local bakery in Utah.
Yeah,
delicious.
And
delicious.
he rolls up to my place for us to drive to Yellowstone with this huge humongous bag of rolls. And he's like, Katie, you have to try these rolls. And we have been eating these rolls.
They're delicious. So I guess that's the travel
Apparently
snack of this. But
that is the snack that is now our go-to snack for hiking in national parks is dinner rolls.
But they have to be quality dinner rolls.
High quality.
But I was just going to say also, Katie literally thought of all the things. So I think when you're going to a national park, get yourself some variety.
Yeah.
Feel the moment. See what you're craving, whether it's dinner rolls, some meat, something sweet, something salty, something sour, whatever it might be. And then just get enjoy the little snackies while you're looking at something pretty.
I feel like that's you hit the nail on the head, and you're gonna give very biased answers, I feel like, during this whole podcast. But like, cause I just feel like whenever I'm going hiking, whether it's on like a big trip like this one, or if we're doing like something little, like we're just gonna go hammocking up the canyon or something like that, like you want a little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? And so you might be craving something savory, or you might be craving, like, I just really want an apple with peanut butter, you know? So, like, being able to have a little bit of variety all smattered throughout there is really, really nice to have, you know? So just having little stuff, easy to carry stuff. Because also you have to be able to carry it. Because we're assuming that you're probably walking the majority of the time. Or you're in the car and you need to be able to juggle it on your lap, or like pass it around to people.
Or we
hand stuff
yeah, be able to hold it.
Yeah. So it's gotta be simple. Can't be too complicated. Like soup? No.
No.
Can't do that. Can't do that. But yeah, I always have beef jerky when I go hiking.
And we're not sponsored, but there is a store that sounds like...
You can say Trader Joe's.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if we're allowed to.
I don't
Best
have
snacks. Oh my word. Their beef jerky is delicious.
Have I? I don't know if I've done any of Trader Joe's tea on here. But I definitely have had lots of snacks from Trader Joe's that I take with me on trips or things like that. We've had their snacks. We've been enjoying their snacks.
So go to Trader Joe's and let them tell you what you want.
They're delicious. Yeah. Watch out, because they will.
But anyways, they have delicious beef
foods.
jerky.
Oh my gosh.
Really good.
Yeah. Can't really go wrong with them. Cannot really go wrong. Let's roll the dice and see what our next question is going to be. There you go. Oh my gosh, I got a 14 again. Can't do that again. Roll it again. 3. Good job. What time of year do you think is best for which parks that you've been to?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So we've actually had conversations about that just going through Yellowstone this week.
Yeah.
I think the best time to go to a park is when, like, it's just towards the end of the season or towards the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Whether and you'd have to double check like weather and stuff like that in those areas, but like
very
just before like
close.
School's getting out or like all the summer vacation stuff's going on, just because if you can get in there at that sweet spot, the parks are not busy, and I feel like we lucked out with Yellowstone, for example, this week.
Yeah, so lucky.
But yeah, but you also so if you can know when the season's about to open and go either right when it's opening or right when it's about to close for the season, and during the week too.
Sweet golden spots. Yeah. So it's right about to be like school just started, right? But it's about to be Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
So like if we'd come a week later, it would be slammed right now. Or a week earlier, because just before school started, everybody would be trying to get in the one last hoorah before school starts up. So it can be tricky. I took a trip at the beginning of the year. What was it? It was way back in March, and we went to Canyonlands. And the friend that I went with, we didn't, because we're both single, we don't have kids, we don't pay attention to things.
Did you go during spring break?
No.
Oh.
No. And I just, guys, I just work, I'm just busy, I don't pay attention to things, I don't have kids, I'm just living my life, okay? Neither of us knew when Easter proper was, okay? We did not realize that Easter was very early this year, and that it was in March, and that it wasn't in April. Neither of us knew that. And we had specifically planned our trip to occur in March in an attempt to avoid Easter. Because I had done a trip like that previously when I went to Moab and did Arches and Canyonlands just before Easter, because school was still in session, nobody got out yet, and it wasn't very crowded. It was perfect because it was early spring, it was still kind of cool, the really hot desert hadn't gotten nasty yet, and there was nobody there because school was still in and it wasn't Easter yet. So I had convinced this friend. I was like, oh, it's the perfect season to go because there's going to be nobody there. Well, little did we know that Easter was early. And by the time we found out, it was literally like the week of our vacation that we were like, oh no, it's Easter weekend and we are going to the place that everybody is going to because it was only a few hours away from where we live. So everybody's going to go there. So thankfully, we picked the less popular national park. The Arches is the popular one. Canyonlands is slightly less popular. Well, significantly less popular. And there was nobody there.
Oh, nice.
Like, we lucked out. We were so lucky. Like, we ran into park rangers, and park rangers were like, where is everybody? And we're like, we don't know. Don't tell anybody. Like,
nice.
We got so lucky. But I was worried. We were both very worried because we were like, we're in trouble. Like, there was so much traffic in town. The whole place was crawling with people. But then as soon as we got in the park, nobody. Mm. Absolutely nobody. We got lucky.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, pay attention to stuff is the rule that I learned. Even if you don't have kids, and especially if you do have kids, pay attention to stuff. And if you can, right, kind of play the game a little bit.
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah. That's my advice with that one. Would you like to roll the dice again? Let's see what other fun and exciting things we could learn. 16. Ooh. This is back to a food question, so let's actually do a slightly different one. Do you read the plaques that they have, like along all the walkways and stuff, and go to the exhibits in the visitor centers? Always, never? What prompts you to do that? Or what prompts you to avoid those things?
That's a good question. I feel like I'm a sometimes person.
Yeah.
A lot of times when we're going to a popular national park, we kind of have an idea of what we want to see already. So, like, sometimes going to, for example, Old Faithful, I'm probably not going to read the plaque or like, outside of it just because I already know kind of what's going on.
Yeah, like, you kind of already know about Old Faithful, so, like, why would you read the sign?
Yeah, but if you're, like, walking around and you see, you know, a prismatic or whatever, those hot springs or something, like, sometimes it's cool to see.
Stuff you've never learned about. There was that one, the one that we went to
this morning.
Oh,
the Black Dragon, or like the dragon volcano one. Yeah, those are cool.
The Black Dragon, or the one that was way back, the little bowl.
Oh, the Punch Bowl.
The Punch Bowl, yeah. I love that one. That neither of us had been to before, and it was like way back, and there was nobody there, and it had this cute little thing that talked about it. Yeah,
so those times I think it's appropriate because you're like, I want to learn more about this particular item because we don't hear about some of the smaller things, in the park.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And then with regards to like visitor center exhibits, it depends on my time. Like if it's like a really hot day and you're waiting for something, absolutely. Or if it's engaging enough, absolutely. I think for me sometimes I'm so excited to be outside in the parks.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That it just depends on how I'm feeling. So that's why I want to say I think sometimes for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, like, if I'm by myself, and I don't have like an agenda. And most of the time, if I'm traveling by myself, I'm very much a spontaneous person if I'm driving by myself, like traveling by myself. So like I usually don't have an agenda. I'm just kind of I'm here, just gonna wander, I usually end up like, ooh, there's a shiny thing. Ooh, here's a plaque. Ooh, here's an exhibit. I usually end up getting caught up in the minutia, and I will, if it's interesting, read it. If I know something about it already, like Old Faithful. If you don't really know about Old Faithful at this point and you're at this park, what are you doing with your life? But like if you're going to a park that you've never been to before, you've never heard anything about it, like where I was just at, the Black Canyon of the Gunnison. Before I went there, I knew nothing about it. So, like, I went with a friend. We read most of the plaques at most of the places, the look-offs and the canyons and things like that, because, like, we didn't know about anything at all. And it wasn't a very big park, and we weren't very pressed for time either. So, like, that also played into it quite a bit. The visitor center was also bitty, and so there was, like, enough time that you could, like, gather some really good information. And it was very helpful, because then I learned about the park that I otherwise would have just been like, well, there's a canyon here and there was cool rocks. But then I got to learn about the cool rocks and the canyon and how it was formed and stuff, and it's very cool. I really, really like that canyon. But yeah, like today, right, we went and saw a ton of stuff, and there were plaques all over the place, and we probably looked at maybe like 4 in total, and maybe glanced at a couple. There was a couple that I took pictures of because I was like, ooh, I'm gonna want to read that later, kind of vibe.
I also think, like, so I've just been thinking about, like, even like families and stuff. I think the visitor center stuff or the plaques are really helpful for, like, kids.
Oh my gosh,
it kind of helps simplify things, even for us adults
they
that sometimes need to, like, understand
job.
things. Yeah, I think those are definitely, times where you should look at stuff a little closely.
Yeah.
More closely.
I feel like they really do a wonderful job simplifying things, helping to engage, like, all levels of an audience, because you never know who's going to walk up to a visitor center and what they're going to know about the local wildlife or the local geology or the history of the settlers or whatever in the area. So I really do feel like the people who work on designing what those exhibits are going to look like, I think they do fabulous work.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I've always been very impressed with how they break things down. I would have no idea how to do that.
Yeah.
No idea. Awesome. Well, let's roll the dice again and see what we can get. Did we already do 3?
Yeah.
I think we did.
We did 16.
My gosh, this random, it just loves 16. 11. Who is your ideal travel buddy to take to national parks? You don't have to, like, pick a real person. You can describe, like, the characteristics of an ideal travel person, what they are like.
Ooh, that one's tough. Because I don't know, each park is kind of unique, and I feel like depending how long you're going, like if you're going for like a week somewhere or like a couple days, I think the ideal person to travel with, at least for me, is someone that's willing to just kind of ride the wave of the day. Because, like, sometimes you'll be out in a park and something shows up, like, that's exciting, and you just want to change plans a little bit. So I think someone that's willing to, like, yes, we have a plan, but, like, we can change it up if we need to. Definitely, like, someone that has, like, an eagerness to be out and explore. Like, so for me, I think it's more just, like, easygoing, willing to just, like, and take the day as it comes. But, and that's because that's how I approach things, I think, with the travel, so that's what I would say. And then someone that's happy, because it can be, long days driving or whatever. So, like, you've been so awesome, so, like, see, you're definitely an ideal person.
I told you who's going to be singing my praises. We've had a really great trip. Like, we've had a lot of good luck. We've had great weather. We've had really cool, like, wildlife sightings and stuff. We've had just a good trip all around. So, no horror stories on this end. But I very much agree, because, like, you never know what might happen. And you don't want your plans to be, like, so set in stone that you're not open to a potential avenue of, like, ooh, what if this thing might be really cool, You wouldn't want to miss out on something that could be really awesome that you wouldn't have found out about otherwise.
Yeah, and I think too, like if you're traveling, if it's just like you and someone else, I think it might be helpful too, like both of you kind of look at the park you're wanting to go to and kind of like put a plan together of what, like individually what you'd want to do, and then you combine the plan,
Yeah.
Then like everybody's getting something they want. Or if you have one person that kind of has been to that park or something, like they usually know the big things to go see. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Like when I've been to Moab before, like before I was familiar with it, I went with friends who were more familiar, and they could kind of take me to places that they were like, oh, these are the places that are really good, like in the parks, and these are the places that nobody knows about that are outside the parks that you have to see. And that was super cool. And like the Black Canyon of the Gunnison, the friend that I went with, she'd been there the year prior and was like, okay, these are the places, these are the good lookouts, these are the hikes that suck and that you don't actually want to go on and that aren't worth it, and so like it's really helpful to have that friend who like has kind of been there, done that, right? And can kind of guide you through it. And then when like you have a group of people that are familiar with the whole place, like I've gone to Moab a lot. That place is awesome. And I've been with groups of friends where like everybody's kind of familiar, and so everybody kind of contributes to like, oh, on this day this group is like, hey, we really want to do these hikes, and on the other day this group's like, hey, we really want to do these different activities. To get that like nice mix and nice balance is really nice. It's really fun. You get a good variety that way.
Absolutely. And then I think just like make sure you plan enough time for things, or like, you know what I mean? Just like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
So I know we're like giving you tips on like how to take advantage of it, but like literally like
you never know what might happen.
Yeah, so like just giving yourself like an ample of time to enjoy things, because there's so much to do in these national parks that it's like,
yeah.
So find someone, like I said, that's like, yeah, I can, we'll do whatever we can to do these things,
And that, like, it's okay if those plans change, because like the weather might be weird, you might get a flat tire, there might be a moose, and maybe you want to go see the moose. Or maybe there's a line of people who want to see the moose, and you're stuck behind those people. And maybe you've seen 12 moose, but now you're stuck behind those people. But we saw a moose today, and it was great. It was great. So you've got to be willing to be flexible, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
That is okay. Because it's all about having an adventure, It's all about exploring and getting to see, like, the beauty, right?
Absolutely.
Man, this tea is so good.
I drank all of mine already. It's so good.
Did you really?
I'm ready for another cup after this.
They have just a nice blend. Okay, I'm going to roll the dice, see what I get. Gosh, lots of 16s and 3s. Like, come on. 8. Ooh. What is my most close encounter wildlife experience that I've had?
She's met me. Then I'm just kidding. The wild man here.
I feel like as far as like physical proximity, there's like the whole, because obviously here in Yellowstone there's so much wildlife, right? Like so much wildlife. The bison especially are not shy about just like using the roads themselves as their own little walkways. And so they will fully just like be walking along the road. And they will probably walk right outside your car. They might be walking on the medium, or they might be walking literally in the middle of the road. And so you have to stop. And so I've had moose, or not moose, but bison walk literally right next to the car. And if you had your window down, you could have like pat the bison. And I didn't, because I'm not crazy, but you could pat the bison because it was that close. I haven't had anything in like a national park or even like a state park that was like, oh my gosh, that was so threatening. I usually try to avoid dangerous things. I try to follow the rules, you know, and not put myself in situations that would be bad or sketchy or invite the grizzly bear or whatever. I've definitely been to like summer camps where there were black bears that were like uncomfortably close and we were trapped in the like shower house or whatever because there was a mama bear, or there were baby bears but we couldn't find the mama bear kind of thing, right? And so you just like hunker down and you're like, okay, we're gonna stay here kind of thing. Like I've had that happen before. And I've had, like I told you earlier when we were hiking today about how I was on a hike once and we saw the cougar and the cougar just kind of followed us. That was like, woo. And it was like a solid like distance away. But like, and we saw it and it saw us, but it just kept following us and then it disappeared, and that was worse because then you can't see it and you're like, that was a big cat and now the big cat's gone and we're gonna very quickly go back the other way. So I've had stuff like that happen, but it's never been in a national park, and it was never like, and then the grizzly bear came charging out of the woods or whatever. So.
I've had in the national forest. I was backpacking once, and I heard a little twig break. Like I don't even know how I heard it, but I heard a snap, and I look over, and on the edge of like, so like there's a trail, some pine trees and some willows. I look over to the right, and all of a sudden there was a mama moose and her calf trotting right next to us. And I was like, I just froze, looked over, and the friend that I was with, like we both stalled for a minute, and then the friend took off.
They left you?
And I was just there, and I was like, just be like a tree. And then like the moose put its head down, and it was probably like 20 feet away.
What?
And so the moose thought danger was gone, so she started trotting towards me, and then noticed me.
Oh no!
And she did this like head thing, and I could see like, you know, like their eyes, like I could see like the white of the eye type.
You're like calculating,
like the pink around. Yeah, it was like. Anyways, and she kind of did this thing, and I was like, that's my sign to just go, and I just
back it up.
So she got probably within like, I want to say 10 to 15 feet of me.
It was like, that's like it was from here to there.
Yeah, like, maybe 20 feet. It was like a little bit, but it was close enough that I could see features of her eyes. Like it was crazy. Oh my gosh. And then I back up, and I'm like, I was preparing to like just lay down, and you know, if she started trying to chomp on me or whatever. But I remember like kind of trotting away or running away, and I looked back, and she was like smelling where I was standing, and I was like, I almost got killed by Mama Moose.
Oh,
you know, it was
my.
So for me, I was kind of scared of moose for a little bit when I was younger, but now I think they're
protective. They are so protective. My gosh, like I've actually seen quite a lot of moose. I've never ever had one get grumpy with me, like ever. But I've never been around a mama moose with a baby moose before. Thank goodness. Like, ugh.
Yeah, but generally speaking, nothing scary. Really, like, scary. I mean, that was like close counter, but it was like encounter.
Like nothing like, woof. Oh my gosh, that's close.
Yeah.
That's a little too close for comfort.
Yeah.
Oof. Oof. I guess I did.
But there's like a lot of cool encounters.
Yeah.
That you get close to.
Yeah.
Like the bison walking by the car.
The bison walking by the car is super cool. They're
we
so
watched
chill.
an osprey like dive into the water today that was close by. That was pretty cool.
I've never seen. You see cool footage of that stuff all the time. And we were just like walking on the trail, and this little bridge goes over this beautiful lake and this beautiful river as it snakes along. And this osprey was just riding on this thermal over the lake, and we are looking up as it crosses where the river goes under the bridge. And this osprey flew right over top of us and then just plopped.
Like dove into the water.
Like fully just was like bloop into the like right into the water and just got right back up again, and it was like, oh my gosh. And yeah, you just happened to have your phone out and were filming the osprey flying on the thermals as it went down into the water. It was just spur of the moment. It's like, oh my gosh, what are the odds? It was just 2 seconds and flew off again. Yeah, it was so cool. It was super cool. But yeah, lots of cool stuff. But yeah, I love the bison. It's so funny to me because like they are absolutely massive, and I just like I don't know what gets into people's heads that think that they can actually walk up to those things. But I do understand the intrusive thought of wanting to boop them because they are so fuzzy. But like they're so big.
So cute.
They're so big. They are very cute. They're so big and they're so intimidating to me. Like they're literally the size of your car as they're walking past you. You can feel the ground shake. They're so big as they come walking by, and it's just like, oh my gosh, don't make eye contact. I feel if they were to shake their head, they'd be able to take your car door off. Like, like you want to boop it, but like, no. But they are so cool. Like, so cool. If you are lucky enough to, like, be graced by their presence as they majestically, like, tromp down the road, just let them walk by. Just they're going somewhere. Let them walk by. Yeah, lots of chill, I feel like, experiences with wildlife so far, and I think I'd like to keep it that way. We probably have time for just one more question. Now that you've fully, like, almost drained your second cup of tea.
It's delicious. Hitting the spot today.
One more question on the dice. 2. Has there ever been a park, state or national, that you would not want to go back to?
Oh,
why?
Stirring the pot here.
Why would you not want to go back? What happened?
I'm going to turn around and be like, because I had the best experience there, I don't ever want to go back to that park because I don't want to have to
it was so amazing and so good. You
and
don't want to go back.
You
can't top it.
That's
I know.
tough.
It's a tough question.
There's a reason that they're state parks or national parks. Like, they're usually beautiful areas that have been preserved.
It's very true. It's very true.
I think the only reason I wouldn't want to go back to a particular park would be just due to crowds. I feel like, or if it was too busy.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I'd be
like. That's a vibe for sure.
So that's why I feel like I would want to try and find the time that they're not there. So if it's like a really, really busy park, and the time that I want to go is a busy time, I feel like that would be a reason why I don't want to go to that park. Yeah. That makes sense.
But like, you can't think of anything that you have been to
that I wouldn't want to go back to.
That you wouldn't want to go back to.
No, because I feel like...
Aww.
Honestly, I feel like there's just so many cool parks that I feel like going back to them is worth it to me. But... Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like... Yeah, give me a moment to think. I can't think of a park that I'm like, now, you know?
Like, no,
I love them. I've loved them all.
This was the pits. I got sunburned or whatever. I sat on a cactus and it was terrible. Yeah. Like there was ants in my sandwich.
So many ants.
There were so many ants when we tried to have a picnic. I'm trying to think if there was one. Like, I've certainly had my fair share of like mishaps or weird family road trip experiences, but like that's just kind of par for the course when it comes to like family vacations, whether it's to a national park or otherwise. But I'm trying to think if there's one that I was just like, man, I don't want to go back to that one. There's certainly some that I feel like national, not so much as like state. Like there's maybe like state, like forests or things like that I was like, that was okay, but like I wouldn't necessarily make a trip to specifically go there again. Just because like I was there and I took advantage of it while I was there. But, like, I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to travel to that state to go there again just because, like, I don't live there anymore.
I I guess you could flip the question, be like, which park would you want to go back to regularly? You know what I mean?
There is a park, a state. I guess it's not technically a state park. It's a national shoreline in Michigan. There's several because there's a lot of lakes because Michigan is surrounded by them. They're the Great Lakes. They're pretty great, but and this one is called Sleeping Bear Dunes National Shoreline. I would 100% make a special trip specifically just to go to that national shoreline.
Again.
100%.
That's awesome.
I love that place. It is absolutely spectacular. It is so fun. Also, the little town, so cute. So freaking cute. There's a chocolate shop, not a sponsor. Delicious chocolate. Oh my gosh. If you are a fan of chocolate, you need to go there. It's so great. There's a lot of trails, as you would expect, and the majority of them go through these ginormous sand dunes. It's the wildest experience because you're in these thick forests of deciduous trees along the Michigan lake shoreline.
That's cool.
And they're these giant sand dunes in the forest. It's so weird. It feels so weird. And you can walk the whole thing completely barefoot because the sand is so soft.
That's amazing.
It's like going to a spa. It's so nice. I freaking love that place so much. And a lot of the dunes are absolutely ginormous. So be prepared to like feel the burn. You're looking at pictures now, aren't you?
I am.
They're gorgeous. I love them so much.
Wow.
And the beach is just spectacular. It's so beautiful. It's everything that you love about going to the beach on the ocean without any of the sharks or the seaweed.
Oh, because that's a lake.
'Cause it's a
It looks
lake.
like an ocean. That's incredible.
It does. It looks like an ocean. The Great Lakes are great. They're so great. Pun intended. I would 100% travel just to go to this park. I love it so much. I took a kind of like a day trip-ish to go up there one time, and I would do it again in a heartbeat and make it like a long weekend.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's fabulous. So that's my little plug for a cute little national shoreline. It's a treasure. So there you go, guys. There's a lot of other wonderful state parks and national shorelines and beautiful places out there that you guys should see and that you should explore. Don't try to boop the bison. And, be safe out there. Don't try to boop the moose either, or the bears, or other wildlife. Let the wildlife be wild is my advice.
Perfect.
on that note.
Love it.
Yeah, that's my advice there. But that's all we have time for tonight. But we will talk at you later.
Thank you.
Bye.